Ladies and gentlemen, welcome you all to India HR Live, and I can't wait to kick off this show for so many reasons. Because we have already scheduled this show a while ago, and we had to reschedule it due to some technical glitches, and luckily we don't have that today. And I have my team from my team, Rinjim, also joining with us as a speaker. And other than that, it's marketing and HR, right? And us, nothing more than that. Those are two favorite topics of all of us and to our audience as well. So stay tuned to India HR Live as we are talking about how should HR and marketing collaborate. And if you have any questions to our panelists, tweet your questions to the hashtag India HR Live on Twitter or on our Facebook page or our YouTube page. We'll be able to pull that out. So without further ado, let me kick off the show and welcome all of our panelists. First of all, let's kick off from Chetana. Hey Chetana, your first time on the show. I know you have been a very supporter of India HR Live, and now you are joining us as a speaker. So thank you so much for being here. So Chetana, we would appreciate if you can talk a little bit about who you are and what you do, so our audience who doesn't know of you can get in touch with you, can get a hold of you, and make that connection going.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Nisha, for having me on the show. And not just on the show, but for a topic that is so close to my heart. So, here I am going through a personal transformation. Even as I tell you that I am an OD specialist, OD consultant, HR strategy consultant, and organization transformation consultant. So the transformation word stays on at a personal level right now. And the transformation is really moving from a very corporate experience, a long one, over 20 years. And the last year is when I decided I need to transform myself. And that's when I moved out and decided to be on my own. So 20 years across different organizations, really some of the finest organizations, I must say that I have had a chance to work with. And a lot of the work that I've done, I believe, is something that made a difference. And that's what I really feel happy about.
Well, that's great to hear, and we are glad everything is going very fine with you and your ventures that you are associated with. So let's meet our other guest, and first time on the show, Jyotirmay. And there is a little bit secret right there with Rinjim and Jyotirmay. What is that?
I didn't think my number will come so fast. I thought it's a very gender-biased audience. And the panel also. I found myself the only speaker who is representing I don't know what secret you are talking about, if it is our personal life. Yes, Rinjim is my wife.
Yes.
I don't know about the audience, who are there in the audience, so I would introduce myself first, because the people who know me, they probably know me, most of them probably know me as the HR consultant, rather being a marketing guy, because I have been doing HR consultancy all across the globe for companies like IBM, TCS, ITC for a couple of years. It's already more than 12 years. And what I did basically to the lady who already said she's going through the personal transformation, though I would like to know about that in more detail, what kind of personal transformation she was mentioning. And for me, it's basically doing the transformation, business transformations for the client. And yes, that's about us. And one fine day, we thought enough of doing things for others, and let's do it for ourselves. And Rinjim and I took on this call, and we actually resigned from the work. I resigned from IBM, and we set up Unmarketer. Unmarketer is surprisingly a marketing firm. We do the creative part. Rinjim will discuss that and tell you more about that.
All right, so that's great.
So that's it.
I guess the couple, they are dividing their intro into first part let the husband do, and let the second part let the wife do. So Rinjim, it's your turn. Take us through your journey. Talk a little bit about what you do at Unmarketeer.
Right. I think doing something on our own had been on the cards for some time. We had been thinking and we'd been experimenting, and I think I had got pretty restless after working in various organizations for close to 10 years. That it's probably the right time to branch off and do something on our own. So earlier this year, we started our firm and Marketeer, which, as Jake explained, is a creative firm. We started by focusing on digital, but we fast, my belief is that, marketing is medium agnostic. Is the idea that rules. So we kind of reposition ourselves as an idea firm and, concentrated on creative rather than just on digital, and thought that we are media agnostic. I was mentoring the firm for the first few months, and then, I'm coming on board full time, and, right now I think we are both steering the direction along with some very fantastic people, on board. And together we hope to do some great work for our clients, across the world. And we are thankful that we already have got, a few good clients on board, and we're doing some great work that's getting appreciated. And, we hope that we just grow it and, do better work in the coming years.
Well, that's great to hear that you guys are doing a great job out there on your first venture, that is Unmarketeer, and wish you all the very best. So let's move on to last but not least. Oh, you're welcome. Let's move on to last but not least, Archana. Hey, Archana, welcome to the show.
Hi, Nisha. Thanks a lot for having me here.
So give us a shout out to our audience and tell them who you are.
Absolutely. So I have been into HR for last 14 years now, and HR has been my forte since really, really long time. And if we talk about OD and coaching and OD interventions in details, we have done everything for the companies like Renbaxy, Teleperformance, where I have been heading HR for almost 10, 11 years. After that, I worked with Plug HR for 2 years as a VP HR and was taking care of them. This is where actually I have started doing the marketing part, basically. And this is how I got, collaborated. Everything got collaborated with marketing here. And after working there, I realized that this is a time now when, I should start something of my own. Because having worked with so many companies for 14 years, I realized that somewhere or the other, even if it's an MNC or a startup or a SME, from HR, that human resource thing, so the human part is always missing everywhere. So that's the story behind the name of my company also. That's the reason why we are calling it Human Rhythms, which is HR is equal to Human Rhythms. So this is the entire story behind how we are working. This venture has started very recently, so now it's just been 3 months that we have started this thing. So far, I am the co-owner, founder of this particular thing, and we have good number of clients to start with, and I hope it will go on.
Yeah, let it go on, and wish you all the best at HR Rhythms, and I know you know the drill and you will do great. So now that you all have met our panelists, before we move on to the panel discussion, I really wanted to give a shout out to my entire team for giving us a great support out there. Even now when I'm doing the show at the front end level, I know Kunjal, Meteor, and everybody in our team are doing a great work out there on our Twitter stream, which you might be watching, which you might be tweeting or retweeting. So great shout out my team. Without them, I cannot do this show. That is for sure. So, and other than that, there is one more specialty for this show. This is going to be the last show of this year, 2014, and we are going to take a break in December to get us a little more strategized and energized and compact on 2015. So that is there. And there is an interesting thing that I really wanted to request you all, because as this is the last show of this year, we really wanted to make it more fun. So why don't you guys take a selfie and post it on our Twitter hashtag, and let's have fun together. So marketing and HR, right? In the very beginning, we haven't thought that these guys, I mean, these two departments are working together. But now, more and more functions that we have seen, our job aspects that we have seen, yes, HR and marketing should collaborate when it comes to building their employer branding and even create a brand awareness or building a branding message. But is it just all about employer branding? Is it more something more than employer branding? Let's find out and ask to our panelists. So first of all, let me ask with the question, why should we care each other? Why should HR care about marketing in this today's competitive world, and even vice versa? So Chetana, why don't you start, and then we'll move on with the other panelists. Chetana, you're on mute. Can you unmute yourself? Alrighty, that's great.
So HR and marketing, I think, one of the most symbiotic relationships in the organization. And, this is something I realized pretty early when we were working on the employer branding piece, the recruitment ads, and, how do you make it really, really attractive for people. But, soon I realized that there was much more value that one could get out of this collaboration between marketing and HR. And this is really interesting because when you start looking at the opportunity that is really there to work with marketing from HR, I think the piece around the entire strategic HR, and specifically when you start looking at some of the big impact initiatives that we would run from HR in terms of organization development, or even some of the talent management initiatives, we soon realized that there was so much of work we did in HR, we burnt the midnight oil, and after some time, if you tried and got a feedback from people, you found that there was very little of the message that you really wanted to send out to people that had reached them. And that's extremely disappointing because, you work with so much passion. And that really set me thinking that, we needed to do a really, really good job in terms of how we branded, some of the most important initiatives, how we really communicated, these initiatives to people. And that is when, we started working really closely with marketing. And in a fairly boundaryless manner, we realized that, when we were looking at some of the really big impact initiatives, sit with marketing, really look at how do we communicate it in a way that was easy to understand, that was very clear to people, easy to communicate, and something that people really could connect with. So that's really one of the big pieces that we found where marketing and HR could work together. The other one, which, and you will find that a lot of the work that marketing does is very similar to what HR does. End of the day, both of us are looking at what our customers want, what will help the customer, and how would we add value to the customer. And the entire process of even identifying that, is the process really of insights. So while marketers would do it for the external customer, in HR, we were doing it for the internal customer. And, this is one skill that obviously was not something HR was born with. And this was a skill where we found that we could learn a lot from marketers. So you look at surveys, you look at group, focus group discussions, and the kind of insights that you could actually pick up, in the function, we could learn a lot from marketing. So these two.
So let's ask to the marketing experts on this panel, that is JK and Rimjim, and what's your experience, JK, when it comes to you were working with great companies out there, and what have you thought? Why should HR and marketing care about each other? In a nutshell.
Right. For me, it's survival. My wife is marketing. I was in HR, so I had to collaborate. So if I move out of this, if I say the big companies, I'll give you a couple of examples, what I felt abroad.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say the interviewing process, that's where you interact with the external world. Chetna has already said how it can help the internally. If I'm talking about how you can connect externally, an organization can connect externally, there are two ways basically. One through the recruitment, and another through building the brand for the clients. So when I'm talking about recruitment, most of the things, most of the times that I have seen in India, I'm not saying something is wrong or right. I'm not a judgmental person, but in India, the target is the candidate has to showcase his skill to the company and get hired. But I have seen that the other way around in the US, in the UK, in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Before they will first tell you what the company can offer to the new candidate, what it can come bring to you. I think that's excellent way of marketing the company brand, and that happens through HR, because HR is the channel through which the candidate comes to know about the organization, and the marketing strategy is passed through them to the candidate. So that's wonderful channel, I would say. And when I'm talking about the client, I would say there are few things, few messages are lost if you do not market it properly. Like most of the times we think this is right, this is the best way of doing that, and we do that. We do not wear the customer's shoe. So I think that's where the marketing needs to collaborate with HR and tell them, okay, it's just not what we are thinking, it's how the customer is taking it. So this is the way you can really say HR and marketing can collaborate for an organization and really do some great work.
So it's all about that branding message that you really wanted to communicate to the audience, that is especially our talent inside and outside of the organization. And to your point, as you said, that providing a candidate experience in the very beginning, that's what I hope that you mentioned, providing the candidate a great experience when it comes to knowing everything about what he really needs to know, and treating him like him or her like a human being, really wanting to know
Exactly.
everything about, yeah, really wanting to know everything about when it comes to making a valuable decision in his life, whether to join this company or not. So let's ask Rinjim when it comes to what's her opinion, and why should HR care about marketing?
Yeah, I think both HR and marketing have certain synergies in the sense that they both are very people-centric functions. They both work with people. Marketing is about communicating the best value, or bringing out the best value of that a company can offer, and to your clients, and make uh, communicating the brand to them. On the other hand, HR is all about employees, and I think especially in knowledge-centric economy, in a very talent-driven economy, there's both sets of these people, customers and employees, uh, get linked together. Your customers experience your brand through your people. So who are the people you're recruiting? Are you recruiting the best people? Your employees then become your brand custodians, and they are the walking, talking brand ambassadors that your customers meet every day. So from that point of view, it is so you have to be really careful about how you recruit. And as Chetna JK have already said before me, it's not about, it's not that, I am a large brand and the best talent will automatically come to me. So it's a synergistic process, right? Now I'm a great brand because great talent works for me. So it's both way around. From that point of view, our company has to go out and tell the I'm not just a great brand for my customers, I'm a great brand for my employees. I want the best talent to work for me, and this is why the best talent should work for me. So from this point of view, I think the employee HR and marketing build the brand of a company together, because I don't think a company's brand survives without its employees, and it's marketing to these employees, it's communicating to the brand to these employees, attracting and retaining these employees that HR does. And so So the synergy that I see between them is a common shared understanding of the brand, what the brand stands for, not just for the whether it is internally, externally, believing in that unified message and making sure that it is communicated consistently, whether you're communicating to external customers, internal employees, or prospective employees. Making sure that this messaging works together is something that HR and marketing can jointly work for.
That's great. So let's hear from Archana as well, and then we will open the panel when it comes to moving on with different topics. Hey, Archana, what do you want to add along with Chedana, JK, and Archana? Rim Jim.
So I would agree. I think almost all the points have been covered by these three already about HR and marketing, how they can collaborate. What I would like to say is that marketing can really help HR into strong online presence. When we are talking about companies, when we talk about social media, the branding part of HR department per se, or the overall company, so that we can actually retain and attract good talent inside the organization. This is where marketing can actually help really a lot into the HR department functions. And there are various functions in HR, like employee engagement, conducting employee satisfaction survey and CSAT surveys, recruiting. Obviously, they have already talked about these things. So these things need to be marketed internally as well as externally, in outside the company as well. Until unless you're not marketing that, what engagement activities are being conducted inside the organization by these organization at large, you will not be able to actually attract the good talent inside the organization. So that's the recruitment part basically we're talking about. Then when it comes to organizing surveys, like there are service report which comes out, and if the service report specifically, if we talk about, we conducted with one of the organization, we conducted a survey, we participated in Great Places to Work survey. And when the survey report came in, we were really happy to see the kind of report, the kind of feedback that employee had given for the company. And when you actually talk about the findings of those surveys outside, and this is where marketing can actually help to take out a complete roadmap, culturally and operationally, so that once it is going out, it is going out in a proper structured manner to attain whatever goals HR has set for themselves. So this is how I feel about they can collaborate. Other thing I would talk about is marketing is actually storytelling and influencing minds, and HR being people function. If they both collaborate, you can think what kind of results they can bring in. When we will be talking about the personal branding of HR department, if we start doing it in the manner like marketing does, with storytelling and influencing mind, then HR obviously will be able to give their ideas on values and the reputation, their vision of the company in a more lucrative manner.
That's a great point, and let's start from there when it comes to creating that vision and culture within the organization, as you said. And as to the point of Rinjim, she said when it comes to messaging has to be consistent, and then only that both team HR and marketing, whatever they do, will add value to what they are doing. But how much money that you spend when it comes to, or whatever money that you spent on your employer branding or creating a brand awareness program, but at the end of the day, if employee is not interested in it, if employees doesn't know how to add value to whatever you're doing, they are the person who making your brand alive, and they are the person who going to represent your organization. So ultimately, if they are not interested, or if they are not aware about how to do or what you are expecting from them to do, this is going to be a clear disconnect between what HR and marketing are going to ultimately deliver. So how do we kind of avoid that sort of disconnect when we work closely with HR and marketing?
I would say that you will have to find early adopters. There are always some people in the organization who are really early adopters. They are good to learn. They can actually be the brand ambassador for this entire thing. And while working on these new areas where both of the things are collaborating, these are the people who can actually take the entire thing ahead.
That's great. So that's again another. I'm not saying it's a jargon, but I totally believe in that brand ambassador's role and what they can do to make a great impact on your brand. But how do you want to um, have your employees talk about your brand? How do you get them speak about your brand? That's the next question. Um, Rimjim or JK, are you guys there?
Yeah.
We are not able to
So,
see you.
can you
Okay.
see me?
Yeah. Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can
Go
see.
ahead.
So, I think it's the only way you can get your employees. So the way you get customers to talk about your brand is by offering them a great product.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you get employees talk about yourself is by being a great employer. It's probably as basic as that. So I think companies have tried a lot of things. You try incentivizing, you try linking it to your KRAs, etc. But I think at the end of the day, inorganic measures do not work. They might be able to get some responses because the employee wants to be seen as doing certain things, but I really don't think a carrot and a stick, it has to be very organic. The employee has to feel motivated and the employee has to feel good about himself coming to work every day, and then he starts talking about it. Also, I think communication is very important, so give them the talking point. If something is happening, especially if this happens in large organizations, that, there might be great things happening in one corner and employees at the other end have no knowledge about it. So an internal social media network, I think, is very important. I think that's a prerequisite. So kind of you break down the barriers, and you make sure that the news is flowing transparently, and you also give them a platform to voice their opinions internally. When people get the confidence to voice their opinions internally and start talking about it, they also go online or they go outside and also start talking about the about the company. And then obviously, when you have so many voices talking about you, that advocacy builds up, and there's so much more than any inorganic reach that you can hope to achieve. That organic builds up to so much more. So I think I think that's the
Right.
secret.
Sure.
Right.
Well,
So if
that's
you allow me to,
I totally agree with you. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, JK.
right. I would say I will give an example of the company that we have launched, Unmarketeer. I would say in the organization, no one works for money, and no one works for promotion. No one works for any expectation. I would say in terms of what do you say, something that they will be gifted to. It's just the energy, it's just the challenge they have in front of them. It's the platform where they can come and collaborate and portray themselves, showcase themselves, and prepare something really good, create something that they were actually looking to create for so many years. So I really don't know. We can do what we can do. We can do a show where we can bring in more people from Unmarketer and actually tell you how in a marketing firm how the HR is placed, how the HR is actually functioning. Probably that will really help people know. I'm not saying the organization that we are in is great, doing great or something, but we have been successful in establishing a message to all the people who are part of
Well,
Unmarketer.
that's great.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, that's great. Yeah, well, Rimjim were talking about that to me when it comes to building a DNA where you have your employees who are not working for money, not working for recognition, and there's no buzz at your organization. It sounds like almost holacracy at Zappos, but then we really wanted to hear more about the work culture that you are going to do at your organization, and that could be another show, which indeed we will be planning in 2015. So JK, to your point, yeah, culture is always important when it comes to either a collaboration between multifunctional or cross-functional, which is for sure. But we started the topic when it comes to HR and marketing. It kind of turned to um, employer branding and culture of the organization. But is there something that is more than that employer branding and culture? That's what my intention of this particular topic that we really wanted to do. Um, Do you see any other innovative collaboration between HR and marketing other than this employer branding?
Yes, Nisha. Uh,
Yeah.
can I comment?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure, sure.
sure. Yeah. You know, actually, when you start looking at the entire surround experience for employees, and we spoke about when will employees talk about the brand that the company is, and that is going to happen only when they experience it, they live it day in and day out. And I think this is extremely important when you start looking at the kind of experience you're building for the employees. And I can give you an example when we were working on a very big OD intervention, which was to take the organization to a completely different level of growth. And when we had to do this, it basically meant that there were a lot of things that needed to change, right from the mindset, the capabilities, the way we looked at the customer. A whole lot of things had to be changed. And one of the important things that needed to undergo change was really the kind of behaviors that leaders would demonstrate. And we had a very intensive process where we looked at what are the new behaviors that would help the organization move to the next orbit. And it was very interesting because, after a very intensive process, we arrived at 5 behaviors. And these behaviors were people development, innovation, taking entrepreneurial risks, customer centricity, and harnessing change. And if we were to just go out and start talking about these 5 behaviors in the regular way, it wouldn't stick. People wouldn't connect with it, and it would look like a very academic exercise. And that's when we sat with marketing and started looking at how would we communicate this in a way that it sticks. And the marketeers actually came up with an acronym which was called pitch. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I rattled off
Mhm.
these 5 behaviors because I remembered the acronym. And it was amazing because, when you say pitch, it would be pitch for growth. But pitch in India, it is very much associated with cricket. And what we did was to link it up with cricket and the entire surround, with the theme of cricket. Now, you can imagine that this is something which is a very, very serious intervention. You're talking of a big change in the organization. But when you follow an approach like this, you're actually generating a lot of energy. You're generating a lot of engagement, with the entire set of employees. Now, if as HR we had just gone on our own, the regular way of communicating, holding town halls, talking about it, I think the impact would have been much lesser. But the moment we launched it as a pitch and the entire theme, I think the entire organization was vibrating. So, I mean, to me, that was one experience which told me that, marketing HR collaboration is something which can actually make that big strategic difference, not just in terms of employer branding, which is, of course, an important piece, but you can take it far deeper into the organization and, work that is so strategic to the organization. So, and we actually use this very often, post this experience, and, started branding a lot of our talent management initiatives, for example, and really communicating that big value. It's been another big area where this collaboration really delivers.
Well, that's what I really wanted
Not
to get
just
into. What are some areas that you have seen apart from, as you said, training and development? That is one other area. Recruitment we have already discussed in the
right.
very beginning. So, what are some other functions that you would see a collaboration between marketing when it comes to helping you do your job a more better fashion?
I would say if we talk about, when it comes to performance management system also, this is where even marketing can jump in and actually help HR to elaborate more why their marketing, why PMS is really important for all the employees. Because even if you work in larger organization or the system is online, when it comes to filling the forms as such, it takes a lot of time for HR to run after the line managers and get that thing done. And this is because they don't understand that there are some timelines, or even if they understand that there are some timelines, but somehow, somewhere or the other, the importance is not being given to the form filling part majorly, right? Everybody wants appraisals, everybody would like to have some or the other increments or promotions to be done, but this is one area where we have seen in many organizations that this problem comes in quite frequently. I feel that HR and marketing can collaborate here. Marketing can help in telling stories, which is like blowing the HR trumpet loudly and just talking about that. Uh, this is how you have to fill in the form. This is the right way of doing the things. There is an article I was reading very recently, and it talks about power of open. So, which is like ordinary people doing extraordinarily network, building it extraordinarily network. So this is the kind of thing that HR and marketing collaboratively be doing inside the organization. So when you have people coming from both the sides and coming together, they build something really, really interesting, really creative, so that people start taking these kind of things. Like we are talking about gamifications these days. If we make gamification comes in the picture, and till the time marketing does not help HR in a proper manner, that gamification will not really create that much of advantage for everyone. So this is again this is one function where I feel that marketing can really benefit HR
Well, I
together.
wanted to quote, now we're talking about HR and marketing, I wanted to quote one genuine example that I had the chance when I was working with Reliance Communications Limited. And this, what happened, as you said, during the performance appraisal, we really, from an HR perspective, we really had a hard time that line managers and even employees finishing that process, and they would wait till that very last moment, and HR has to be around and follow up with them in order to finish
Yes.
this process. But what we really at Reliance Communications, we are a telecom company, right? So we had the privilege of using the text messages or using the mobile, because everybody in our organization had the same mobile and the same connection. So what we have really done, we use the service of customer care department. I mean, we use the support of customer care department and sent out a shout out text to all of our employees when it comes to giving that follow-up of when to finish, what is the deadline, and all the tips and techniques, which is really genuine at that period of time, and we made a great impact with that, and we saved a lot of time and saved money too. So that is one simple example that I really wanted to quote when it comes to collaborating with customer care. And yes, we did collaborate with marketing department when it comes to doing any employee engagement function or employee or community building function within the organization. So I really wanted to hear some of the practical examples that you guys are doing with your among your clients, or some of the great example or innovative collaborations that you guys have done or might have suggested to your clients, and it might have worked out properly. Any other examples that Rim Jim and JK wanted to highlight?
Yeah, I think I can give an example from my TCS days.
Sure.
I was working with our our global head of HR, and and she was grappling with the change problem, or a problem which was very important to her, was how to brand diversity and inclusion initiatives. So she
Mm-hmm.
said that the perception for these initiatives are often that they are they are more like mandatory initiatives that you have to do. People don't necessarily realize the business value of it, and so they don't so they pay only a lip service to it. We work together. This was marketing and HR working together. And at first we realized that we had to break down barriers internally. So we built our business case for it. We built our nice story around it. As Archana has been saying, marketing is a lot about storytelling. So we built our nice stories about it. We picked up great examples. We did all the jazzy things that marketing can do. Building up microsites, and most importantly, we built our communication program and together. And then
Mm-hmm.
we also started. This is before just before I left TCS, so maybe I didn't see the entire thing through, but we had just done it internally, and then we started building an external communication mechanism also for the initiative. So make sure that, this how we are doing this initiative, how we are making sure the best talent is coming in. So we started building an external communication mechanism also for the initiative. So make sure that, this how we are doing this initiative, how we are making sure the best talent is coming in. that is communicated in a way that it attracts more such talent and we build up a very diverse workforce. So I think, in these specific examples, HR and marketing can work together very seamlessly, and it doesn't need to feel like, HR and marketing. It's really two people of the same organization, maybe with complementary skills, working together to build a better place and to, make sure a great initiative goes through.
All right. Well, I really wanted
True.
to
Another
quote
example,
this.
yeah, I would like
Yeah,
to
go
talk
ahead.
about. Yeah.
Go ahead, Archana.
Sorry, I barged in between. Okay, so this is in a company I was working with as a director HR. It is called Teleperformance. They were a call center.
Mm-hmm.
So this company, they were into really high into developing the values of the company to the downest level, wherever it can reach to the people who are there in the front line as well, because it was a large organization with almost 20,000 people working there, and people who are generally there as a telecalling executives, they would hardly bother about what are the values and missions of the organization. So this is where we collaborated, both marketing and HR, and we started putting in the danglers. We named all the 5 values that the company has, like integrity and professionalism, just quoting an example here. And we started giving them the names of the metals, so earth, fire, these 5 things that we started giving them names of. So professionalism would be earth, so that people would be really down to earth when they're talking to each other. They would actually come up and we'll have a great communication in between. And it started, how it started working with is with what marketing suggested are basically is to do it in a manner where in the entire organization there would be danglers attached there. People could see their values day in and day out, because it was a 24/7 kind of a thing. They would come inside and there would be a large banner out there regarding the values of the company. The mission was really stated there. So, and apart from all these things, the workshops are being conducted every 90 days for each one of them, so that every employee in the organization would be covered in 1 year's time. And then after every 3 years, we started changing the meaning of the uh, values that we had. So the values did not change, the integrity, the professionalism, all these parts remained the same. But earlier we did it with metals, then we started doing it with some other things. So this is how the entire thing has started working in. I'm sure it is working even now, since I've left the company almost 4 years back. But it was real great initiative, which we could see that everybody in the organization knew what the company's vision and values and mission are, which in almost most of the organization people are not really aware about.
All right. So, guys, we need to move on a little fast. So, my next question is, what are some skills that HR must learn from marketing? So, if you can tell in simple, short quotes, that would be great.
I think,
So,
Nisha, it's all about branding and really creating value-adding products. I think there are 2 things that HR can definitely learn from marketing. So branding, of course, the entire value proposition for the employees and the way it gets communicated is something that I think. The other one is really, how to have fun. I think the moment you start involving marketing in HR initiatives, I think they become so much more fun because these guys are so good at it. I think it just helps you, do the work in a much more fun way in terms of getting across to employees.
true. It goes
Right.
hand in hand.
Yeah, I
So
would add to
if
it.
if you
Yeah.
if you say
I would
that,
just add a little.
sorry, go ahead, please.
Go ahead, okay.
So whatever Chetna was saying, just 2 little things, that she was saying that the fun part was there. So how the fun part comes in, what HR can learn from marketing is basically the visual part, that how to go visual about it. So you can do it through podcasts, you can do it through videos, you can through it, jam sessions, or there are various things, that marketing knows about. So this is what it is. Yeah, that's all. Jyotirmay, you can continue, please.
Right.
That's true.
You were saying that marketing is fun, so I was just going to invite you in our office one day and we'll see what kind of fun we'll actually have. Anyway, I was just going to say, as soon as we understand that HR and marketing, these are not 2 different things, it's just process. HR is the process.
Two
Marketing
different
is just
functions,
another
yeah.
process. I think that will help us building whatever we are discussing in a
All right. So,
way.
Rimji, thoughts
I
that.
think the art of pitching. Yeah,
All
I
right.
think the art of pitching maybe. Yeah, so what we call in marketing is this, is this very simple concept of a pitch, where you make a very powerful, forceful statement in a, in a given time to a given person, and making sure that you are addressing his core concerns, or kind of giving a proposition that he can't refuse. I think that pitching is something that that's a skill probably that HR could pick up from marketing.
All right. Let me stop
And
right there and
obviously,
ask you
there's a lot.
guys. Obviously, that's true. So let me ask one question: that have you ever recruited a marketing guy in your HR department?
Absolutely. I mean, I can just come in. I'm so excited about this piece. So, I've done it twice over, and that's another area where marketing and HR can collaborate, because both the times I picked up the top talent from marketing and had them in HR as part of a career development move. And that really made such a big difference, because the whole approach was different, and the way we were coming across as a function, it started impacting that, because we were communicating much more. We were communicating in a far more professional and branded manner. And I think that's a great way, HR and marketing can come together. I mean, people can move in maybe as part of stints, or even otherwise they can be there. And, both the people actually stayed on in HR for a long time. So obviously they also enjoyed, being part of the function.
That's great, and I'm sure Rimchim also has recruited one person in her HR department, a marketing person in her HR department. So, how was your experience, Rimchim?
So, so we hired a recruitment, we advertised the position as a recruitment marketer, and it's, of course, it's becoming pretty common these days. And we said that, we are not just looking for someone who has done recruitment. In fact, we were okay to hire with someone who has probably not done recruitment, but who still understands people. But we wanted
Mm-hmm.
someone with, marketing and communication skills, and, who is good with people, which brings in the HR angle, and, so that he or she is able to, as I said, pitch to our prospective employees that, why is this a great organization to work for. Also, I think as a startup, we are seeing that, we need that very strongly, because when you are a large company, you don't have problem with the talent coming in. There's a natural pull force, and, you'd probably survive on that for a long time. As a startup, because we're just building the brand, and we realize that a brand is kind of driven by the people that we employ. So we are all the, at all time we're pitching to prospective talent, and we pitch with the equal amount of passion that we pitch to our customers. We pitch to prospective employees with almost the same amount of passion and the same amount of intensity or sincerity,
All right.
and we like to have them on board.
So that's great. Well, in fact, going through our Twitter stream, we have tons and tons of comments, and I can see some selfie posts too, which is really fun and adding that fun element to our show, which we really, really appreciate that. And another thought that we had come up on our Twitter stream is HR could learn 4 Ps, that is people, pay, place, and reach, or penetration, that is engagement, similar to marketing 4 Ps, that is product, price, place, and promotion. So I really wanted to quote that comment from Kaushik. And so what is stopping HR and marketing to collaborate each other's? Any cynicism or any old school thought or any barriers from your leadership team? What was the difficulty that you guys have faced in the very beginning?
If you talk about the old school thought, then the orthodox thought that marketing department has is that they have a real big egos. And that's an old school
Oh,
thought
now
I'm
I can.
talking about. Yeah. So,
Now you will see some hate comments on our Twitter stream.
no, that's an old school thought that people used to think about marketing department as such in that manner, that marketing is a revenue builder kind of a thing in the organization. HR is a support function, so they had their egos really high, and that's where earlier these two departments were really not functioning and working together in that manner. Now, since the social media things have come in place, we are talking about collaborating both the things. Like employee engagement has really done good work inside the organization. Plus, like I was talking about the storytelling part, because I've seen many companies, and in fact, some of my clients also have started using storytelling as one of the initiatives during their recruitments. So we will have a job description not stated in a proper in a content form. It will go otherwise in a video form, and this is where the marketing again has helped us do all these kind of things. So job description is stated by the HR person out there without having anywhere written, and people are just talking about the entire KPIs, KRAs that the person is supposed to do inside the organization verbally, and this is how the connection is happening with the entire segment.
That
And
is
this
so.
is how it is going live, yeah, on website is through the podcast system. So this is there.
That is an interesting aspect that we have seen nowadays, that people, I mean, candidates can see a real-time process of how this is going to be and meet their own managers, or potential managers or potential team members, and how they are having fun at their organization, and that would help ultimately make a decision when it comes to how he or she really wants to work with them. So let's move on with the last question on our promo blog. That is, how technology is bridging the gap between HR and marketing. So, Rimjim, would you like to kick off?
Yeah,
Is she
sure.
there?
So I think, I think a lot of things. I think the first thing that is bringing HR and marketing together are the collaboration apps. So I
Mm-hmm.
talked about internal employee social networks before. So where employees across the organization probably get a common platform to experience the brand. So you have got a CEO communicating directly to the most junior most employee, and thus making sure that the CEOs must say the branding direction that they have envisaged for the company is getting communicated throughout. So I think the collaboration apps, be it internal social networks or external social networks, have been very instrumental in bringing HR and marketing together, and making sure that making sure that the messaging has become more and more unified, and people are working together more and more on a day-to-day basis.
Right. So, anyone would like to add your comments on what Rimjim has suggested? No? All right. So that's great. So, yeah, I would totally agree with Rimji when it comes to technology, because technology is nowadays helping us, enable us to do whatever we wanted to do. And right now at India Live as well, see, we are using just computer and Google Plus, and I'm sitting here in Dallas, Texas, and you guys are sitting here in India, and all of our audience are from across the world and mainly from India too, and we are watching this show live on air. So how amazing is that? So I'm sure technology will help HR and marketing when it comes to collaborating and do what they are doing and making it in a better fashion. Now, I really wanted to ask this question before we wrap up about the ROI, or probably more about how do we measure and metrics the value that we bring to the table. The value in the sense HR and marketing together. And let me point out one conversation that is happening between Harlina and Gautam Ghosh, and they, at the last, they had a conclusion like, HR's variable pay is linked to employee engagement scores and recruiting to candidate experience. So is that like something that we really need to make it a mandatory that HR has to add value, and recruiting folks has to add value when it comes to what they do, or is it has to be linked with a score so that somebody is auditing on it, somebody is measuring on it, then only they will act. Is that so, or does it have to come up on its own? What do you think? Archana, you're on mute.
Sorry. Yeah. So I would like to say something here that yes, dashboards and metrics, when it comes to these things, it really add value to HR department, because then it transit the entire thing from HR being a support function to now HR being a value addition kind of a function. Because these days we're talking about this business partner role that HR is playing in the organization, which is like they have business acumen, they can talk in the language which is understood by the CEOs and the marketing and sales professional as well. So this is where, yes, dashboards and matrices do come in place, and it really is helpful to measure the ROIs wherever we can. So, but there are other functions. When we talk about human resource part of the HR, when it comes to human, there are a lot of emotions and feelings which is also involved, right? And it is very difficult to measure those things because here we are talking about certain functions of HR which are like recruitment, which is like PMS and training and development. But there is another part to HR which is grievance handling. There is employee relationship. So now these are the functions which are more into one-on-one discussion with employees, which is like you are giving time to them, like you are doing engagement activities like coffee with HR or things like that. But how would you measure those things now? It becomes really difficult that yes, you can measure that you have had coffee with HR with 23 employees in a day, but what actually are you bringing on the table is really difficult to talk about. It will come out in open only after a year or so when the entire cultural building part is taken care of by HR. So this
That
is
is
my take
true.
on this. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, that is so true when it comes to that building that emotional factor, and you may not know what kind of perspective that the other part, that is your employees, are sitting and they are taking, because you ultimately spending your time with your employees, probably coffee with HR or coffee with the CEO. It's all great, but
Right.
ultimately, if you're not providing a great service to your own employees, I mean, not treating your employees as your own customers, at the end of the day, that's going to be a failure. So, and I really agree with your quote, Archana, as you said in the very beginning. You don't really need a budget to create an impact. So that is so powerful that people nowadays really act on based on cost and budget, but forget the fact that impact and then creating a foundation of their culture. So, last but not least, we have about 2 minutes left at this point, and there is a debatable topic that is going on for a longer period of time that says companies saying no to HR department. So now that we know these employer branding and recruitment marketing all can be taken care by the marketing department, and we have the customer service department to take care of our customers, and what else? The finance, that is the salary part. Yeah, we have finance department to take care of that too. So how about, do you see that companies are going to eliminate HR in the near future? And if so, how would you say no to that?
See, like any other function, HR itself is a technical function. Otherwise, you do not have MBA specializations in HR. If it would be that
True.
easy to have HR handled by marketing or finance or anybody else, any other functions as such, then we would not have it as a specialization function. When we talk about human resource as such, again, I'll come back to that human part again with their emotions and feelings. And that is the reason why most of the companies have started calling HR as people management department or human capital department, right? And the reason,
I think due to technical trouble, we lost Archana. And Chaitanya, would you like to add your thoughts? Go ahead.
Absolutely, Nisha. This is an exciting topic, and we can go on and on and on. But frankly, I think if anything, this entire talk about discontinuing HR, it only means that people are expecting much more from the function, and the disappointment is that at times the function is not able to scale up to that. So for me, it's great news for the function because I think people are expecting much more. There's much more mind share that we have of CEOs around, the people part of it. And I think the challenge is really for us to scale up to meet that expectation. There's no way, I see that the work that we're doing will go away as long as we continuously look to add more value to the business. And it's in a way a wake-up call, but really a very big opportunity for the function.
Right. So,
I think that's
again,
basically
Rimchi,
the
go ahead.
marketing that Chetna did for HR department. It's instead of saying okay we have to look into that, or saying something that we need to revise that, she said that's an opportunity and we can do more than what we are doing now. So that's marketing, and really
So
appreciate
Jyoti,
that.
you know I worked a lot with marketeers.
Okay, in future probably we'll be working closely. That's a great news.
Yes.
But I like to answer very much. So I wanted to thank you for that.
Cool. So, Rimjim, would you like to add your final thought to um, my question? That is, the HR and marketing. Do you see the HR is going to be eliminated in the near future due to the fact that we have other functions to take care of HR's job?
Instead of Rimchim, if I answer that, is it okay?
Yeah, sure, sure. Go ahead.
Right. When we said HR is a process and marketing is a process, we cannot say a process can be eliminated. It's just that the way Chetna said, probably the work that HR is doing at the moment, probably that may change. But HR as a whole cannot go. It's a process. If it's a process, if it's well-defined process, it has to be there and it has to deal in with the people. So that's my belief. Rimchim can add to that.
No,
Wonderful.
I absolutely think, I think HR is very, very important. And, be it in a large organization, if, for example, we are a startup, we probably can't afford to have a large HR team, but, we, we do need people with that certain level of skills, with a certain level of technical specialization to keep the organization together, because as I've been saying, and I think HR keeps the organization together. It kind of it creates the platform for your most important customers, which are your employees, because without employees, your brand really falls apart. So I think from that perspective, I think HR is critical. Yes, maybe certain upgrading of skills, or certain cross pollination of skills will happen. More departments will work together, but I actually don't see one department replacing another. I just see them synergizing more and working together more. So like HR can learn from marketing. I think marketing can also learn a lot from HR. The empathy, the people centricity, that in everything is not profit or loss, and it's
Absolutely.
thinking beyond numbers, thinking in terms of organic value, which finally translates into numbers. Looking at it in a more empathic, from a more human centric lens. I think that's the type of skill that HR brings to the table, and I don't think that skill will go away, in
All
any time
right.
in the future.
Well, thanks to all of our panelists. Thank you so much for being here with us today and making this show a delightful conversation. And I'm sure our audience loved this show because we can see tons and tons of tweets on our Twitter stream with the different perspective and different thoughts that some of them are agreeing or tweeting in favorable to marketing, and some of them are tweeting in favorable to HR, which goes hand in hand. So to our audience, thank you so much for tuning into India HR Live. As I said, this is going to be the last show of 2015, and we will be back with more interesting content in 2015. So stay tuned, and I can really appreciate all the help that you guys are doing. So thank you so much to all of our panelists. We look forward to having your support again in 2015, and have a wonderful rest of the night.
Thank you.
And
You too. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.